We're back in the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets film room, and this is the third of a video series taking a look at the first round matchup between the Denver Nuggets and the New Orleans Hornets. And what we're going to do is take a look at how the Nuggets can defend Chris Paul in the pick and roll. There is no doubt that Paul is probably the best point guard in the league at running the pick and roll right now. And we're going to look at some clips from Game 72 where the Nuggets were able to slow down Paul at least a little bit and force him into 6 turnovers. However, it's worth noting before we start that Paul played that game without Tyson Chandler and Peja Stojakovic, who both will be participating in the playoff series. We're going to start off looking at some clips where the Nuggets were successful, and they were very aggressive in this game, trapping Chris Paul. And here you're going to see he's going to come off the screen. Both Canyon and Dante are going to stay with him and trap him, and Paul's going to make a lazy cross-court pass. Melo makes the easy interception and fortunately makes his second layup here to get 2 points for the Nuggets. Our next clip features Johan Petro, who probably will not see a minute's worth of playing time in the first round series, but you're going to see actually a double screen for Chris Paul. And notice how Petro jumps out and aggressively stops Paul and then gives Dante Jones a chance to come out. Meanwhile, the other Nuggets are in position and they force a bad pass by Paul. This next clip is about as good of a clip as you're going to see the Nuggets defending the pick and roll. It's going to start off with a high screen between West and Paul. You're going to see Kenyon Martin is there ready to protect any kind of a dribble penetration by Paul. David West is open temporarily on the roll, but you see Melo comes over and helps. Dante Jones recovers, then Kenyon also recovers back to West, and Melo comes back up to the middle of the lane there to cover anyone who's flashing to the ball. Paul is yet to make it inside the three-point line, and the shot clock is running down. And you're going to see West comes out again to try and set another screen, but with the clock running down and Kenyon in position to defend any drive that Paul attempts to make, he ends up taking a long three-pointer. And if the Nuggets can duplicate this over and over, then it's going to be a pretty good deal for Denver. But Chris Paul is not going to be passive at all. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to look to draw fouls and get into Kenyon or whoever is stepping out at a hedge on that screen. Here's one more example of an aggressive trap on the pick and roll. You're going to see Anthony Carter and Chris Anderson double Paul off of the screen, and they're going to force Paul away from the basket, and he's going to end up traveling. And a key to this is Chris Anderson, whoever the big man is, knowing when to retreat. But they did a very good job there, and hopefully we can see more of that by the Nuggets. Well, some of those clips made defending Chris Paul in the pick and roll look kind of easy, but I guarantee you it's anything but. And Paul is able to make adjustments and find ways to get his teammates open shots no matter how you defend him. So here are some examples of what not to do, and you're going to see Chris Paul's going to get the ball in the wing and have a pick and roll here with Hilton Armstrong. All the Nuggets are going to be so worried about Paul, they're going to be pressing up towards the three-point line, and they're going to end up leaving Julian Wright wide open for the dunk. And that is a little bit too aggressive of defense by the Nuggets. This next clip, the Nuggets are going to play pretty good pick and roll defense. You're going to see Chris Paul once again works the high screen and roll with David West. And as a result of that, West is floating out on the pick and pop, and Melo does a good job of covering that. But as a result, Julian Wright's left open on the backside, and he misses the jumper. But in this series, it's not going to be Julian Wright taking that shot. It's going to be Peja Stojakovic. When you play an aggressive trapping style off the pick and roll, it takes everyone doing everything together. And here you're going to see the ball reverse, and Chauncey doesn't step up to stop the penetration, and the result is an easy dunk for New Orleans. The last two clips are going to look at ways New Orleans can go about defeating an aggressive trapping defense. Here you're going to see the screen is set very near half court, and that prevents the big man from getting out and slowing Chris Paul down, and he gets in the lane. And it doesn't yield a very high percentage shot, but still Chris Paul is able to get in the lane pretty easily because that screen's set so far out. And we all know a lot about the pick and pop game that New Orleans likes to run. And if you're trapping Chris Paul, if someone doesn't come over to stop David West, he's going to have open jumpers all day long, and that's something the Nuggets are going to really have to defend. I don't think there's any secret to the fact that how the Nuggets defend the pick and roll is going to be the key to this series. If Chris Paul is able to get in the lane, if the Hornets are going to be able to swing the ball and have wide open jumpers on the weak side from Peja Stojakovic or even someone like Rasul Butler, the Nuggets are going to be in big trouble. They did employ a trapping style in this game, and it seemed to work. They were able to force Chris Paul into 6 turnovers, and they held him to only 11 shots, which is far below his season average. And if Denver can play this kind of aggressive style and still recover and handle what the Hornets can throw at them, they have a very good chance of being successful in this series. Now that being said, if the Nuggets relied strictly on an aggressive trapping scheme, Chris Paul is going to find a way to beat that sooner or later. He's going to adjust, and the Nuggets are going to have to find different ways to stop Chris Paul in the pick and roll. George Karl talked about having even Carmelo Anthony start off on Paul and then switch on the screen so that there's a big on a big and then a guard on Chris Paul. And you're also going to see the Nuggets laying off, hoping Paul will shoot a jumper, but just making sure he can't get in the lane. Thanks again for checking out this edition of the Roundball Mining Company Denver Nuggets Film Room, and please check out our blog at roundballminingcompany.com, a member of the ESPN True Hoop Network.